Hello guys, welcome to another session. So today in this video, what we are going to do is we'll be discussing two important editorials which has been published on 6th of May, okay, in Hindu and Indian Express, which are relevant for UPSC examination. That's why I've taken. So this is our editorial analysis. And these editorials basically deal with interstate water disputes in India and then India's strategic concerns related to the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan. So both are important. So again, these topics are there in your GS directly also, indirectly also. They have asked questions related to this before many times. So that's why I thought of discussing this. Okay. So if you look at the title of the editorial, the first one, it has been published in Indian Express and it's also reflected in Hindu. So it is there in both. So I thought of discussing this in detail. So the title is Stirring Passions Over Water is Unwise. So that's actually the title. And if you look at the relevance for UPSC here, GS paper 2, you have a topic of federalism. So it's connected with federalism, interstate relations, that way it is connected. GS paper 3 also, it's important. Water resource management topic is there. Then again, if you go for interview, they will ask you questions related to this. And essay also, you will get topics like cooperative federalism, national integration, where you can mention about this, and then environmental federalism. So when we talk about federalism, different aspects are there. So in that, you can connect it with environmental federalism. Then as a part of national integration, you will be writing. Okay, then cooperative federalism, where you will be mentioning about this. So that's why this topic is very important. Now let's look at the factual background of this. The Bakra Bias Management Board, the BBMB, have decided to increase Haryana's water share to 8,500 cusecs, which was double the previous allocation. But Punjab opposed this move very strongly, and they argued that Haryana has already taken more than their quota. More, they used 103% of its yearly quota. So, as a protest of this decision, Punjab officials locked the gates of the Nangal Dam to stop the water flow. So this act basically actually led to the legal disputes and a lot of political tensions and everything has been raised. So historically, if you see similar tensions, it has occurred during 1980s around this SYL canal, which even contributed to militancy in Punjab. So that's why again it is important. So if you look at different perspectives and argument, so in the editorial itself, the editorial basically warns against using water as a political tool. It can stir public emotions and create long-term unrest also. In this context, if you have some good knowledge about the Mullaperiyar Dam issue, that also you will be mentioning. In fact, I'll be discussing about that also. So, and the editorial again suggesting that BBMB should have acted more transparently with the data and dialogue. And then talking about unilateral administrative action will backfire, unless there is some political consensus. And again, they're talking about, water being a sensitive and emotional issue. It must be managed carefully by both the states. So you see, this issue actually reflects the larger problem of interstate water disputes in India. So this topic, I want to put that in that bigger topic also for you. So water is a shared resource, but often when the trust breaks down between states, that's when federalism is coming in. Okay, it basically lead to conflict. And if you look at the historical context in this, after Haryana was carved out of Punjab in 1966, the issue of how to share water from rivers like Satluj and Bias became a long-standing dispute. And in 1982, during the Dharam Yudh Morcha, the SYL Canal issue triggered a major political and security crisis in Punjab also. So we know, such kind of issues is already there. And if you look at the legal angle of this, Article 262 of the Constitution basically empower the Parliament to resolve interstate water disputes. So here, whenever we talk about a question related to interstate water disputes, then you have to mention about Article 262 of the Constitution, which empowers the Parliament to resolve interstate water disputes. And then there is an Interstate Water Disputes Act of 1956 that provides for setting up of tribunals. So there will be establishment of tribunals, and the tribunals are there, to solve such kind of disputes. But what is the reality? The reality is that these solutions are very slow and often, not respected fully by the states. So unless you get something from the Supreme Court, tribunal decisions are not basically respected by the states. And even to some extent, even the decisions are not implemented also. So if you get something from Supreme Court, that's when it will be, respected. So that issue is there. Now, what alternate perspective you can go with this? Or see, when you are reading some editorial, you should always understand the facts and figure out the perspective. So I don't want you to be a left or right. I don't want you to be upper caste or lower caste or North Indian or South Indian. So you also need to have your own perspective, or you can also go with a critical analysis. So when you start critically analyzing what is there in front of you, that's when you will be getting that good writing skill and that better perspective also. So if you look from Punjab's point of view, what they're arguing, Haryana have already overused its share. So in one way, that is correct, because there is an agreement and this is what the quota that you need to use. And if it is overused, that's Punjab's again, now you're encroaching on the Punjab side. So there should be a better management of Haryana's local water sources before, asking for more. So you should enhance the efficiency part and the way you manage the water resources. That's something you need to improve. That one side that you can discuss. And if you look from Haryana's side, what they're claiming that water is needed for farming and drinking. So this is for this purpose only and not for wasting, right? So BBMB being a neutral body and its decision should be respected. So that's what Haryana's side. So what are the takeaway for you for UPSC? See, guys, this is a classic case where you can see politics involved. You will see federalism is coming in. You will see environment is coming in, and the administration. All these are intersecting. So the chances of getting questions from this is very high, either in GS paper 2 or in GS paper 3 or in essay or at least in interview. So as an aspirant, what you need to do is you must understand the part of cooperative federalism. What does it ultimately mean? When we talk about cooperative federalism, it means dialogue and not confrontation. That won't work. So there is also a need for national water grid or better data sharing mechanisms between the state. So these are things which you can suggest, or you need to understand from this particular article. Then again, another one which is published in Indian Express, that is Indus Waters. Yeah, Indus Waters Treaty has been unfair to India. Delhi should abrogate it. So that's the title of the article. So Indian Express, and discussed widely in strategic and environmental forums also. So that's why this is very important, especially during this situation when the tension between India and Pakistan is escalating. Okay, and water dispute is also coming up in picture. So this is again relevant for where GS paper 2, we have international relation, international treaties. So Indo-Pak relation, it is important over there, right? International relation topic, under that Indo-Pak relation, international treaties, because Indus Water Treaty is an international treaty. So under that also it is very important. Again, if you look at GS paper 3, you have a topic on water resources, very important, and strategic use of natural resources. Under that also they can ask you question. So when you see topic like this, what you need to do is you should be in a position to connect it with your GS, where it is connected. So this is a current affair where this can be fit into the syllabus. So only based on syllabus, they'll ask you questions. So it should be connected with the syllabus. So it's very easy for you to understand. Of course, they'll ask you in essay, they can ask you in interview. How? These are related to treaties and strategic autonomy. So simply they are talking about strategic autonomy in essay, they will give you a question. So all these will come. Again, treaties, they can ask you in interview also, right? So very important topic. So that's why I have again taken up this particular topic to discuss. So if you look at the factual background, when it was signed, the Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan, and of course with the World Bank mediation. And India got control over 3 eastern rivers. There are 3 eastern rivers, there are 3 western rivers. We got control over 3 eastern rivers, Ravi, Bias, and Satluj. And Pakistan got rights over 3 western rivers. So that is Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. So basically, in this, we can have hydroelectric projects and other things, but otherwise the water should fully flow to the Pakistan. So India can use western rivers for non-consumptive purposes. That's what I mean by hydropower. But it must allow free flow to Pakistan. Okay, so normally what happened, Pakistan often objects to India's hydroelectric projects also, that slows the development part. So these are some factual things that you should be knowing with respect to this treaty, right? So eastern rivers, western rivers, who have the control on eastern rivers, who have the control on western rivers, what control India have on western rivers, like non-consumptive purposes means hydropower generation and other things. Now, what the editorial is talking about. So the editorial is basically talking about the treaty is unfair to India, and India gets less than 20% of the total Indus basin water. So that's something which is a fact. fact, of course. So there is no problem in you going with this perspective, no issue. Okay. And despite multiple attempts, India have not been able to revise or modify the treaty. So we should be in a, because then things are changing, the situations are changing, the needs are changing, the population is increasing. So there should be some changes which has to happen over a period of time. That's never happened. So we have done a lot of attempts. So that again, you can mention if the question is asked, these are things that you can mention. These are directly you can borrow from that perspective or the article. And it calls for abrogating or exiting the treaty ultimately. But there I have some, a difference of opinion. And why the editorial is talking about abrogating or exiting of the treaty is because, you are considering Pakistan's hostility and India's, of course, rising water needs due to the development, due to agriculture, due to the population increase and other things. So this is what the summary of that article. Now, see, if you look at this, the treaty it's almost 60 years old and was designed completely different. The entire geopolitical situation, the environmental context at that point was different, and now it is different. So geopolitical situations have changed, the tensions have arisen, the environmental things have changed. Now, if you see with the growing water stress that we have, growing population, and then you can talk about these this melting of glacial aspects due to the climate change. So there are climate change which is happening, environmental changes which is happening, and the strategic tension with Pakistan. India finds itself constrained by an outdated treaty. So it's 60 years treaty, things have changed, the geopolitical situation have changed, the environmental situations have changed, glacial melting due to climate change is there, water stress is there, population increases there, strategic tension is increasing. So when you come across these kind of situation, we feel that we are constrained by an outdated treaty. And again, if you look at the projects like Tulbul navigation and then Kishan Ganga have been basically delayed due to Pakistan's objections as well. Now, if you want, you can look for an alternative perspective, or you can go with the same perspective. I'm okay with this perspective, actually, whatever points that we have discussed. Now, what I want you to do is to improve your answer writing. You got a perspective, you got a content and everything. Try to go for the critical analysis. So that will help you to analyze things in a better way. You can talk about what the supporters of abrogation says, what are the criticisms or the warning, right? These way you can again try to interpret from the very same editorial. So you'll get a lot of advantage when you actually start writing in your UPSC, right? Even for your optional paper or everywhere, you have to write things critically. Whatever you have learned, you have some facts and perspective, you need to write critically, whether it is Karl Marx or any other thinkers or whatever. So same way, if you can start doing it from here onwards, when you start reading the article, that's going to help you a lot. So what the supporters of this abrogation say, India needs to assert its rights. As I told you, we are getting hardly 20%. So we need to assert the rights. Pakistan uses water as a pressure tool while not reciprocating any kind of cooperation. We are cooperating, but Pakistan is using as a pressure tactics. This is what the supporter says. And also our growing population and the agriculture need more water. We cannot put our people on hunger, right? So these are things which you can discuss as a support to this abrogation or exiting from the treaty. The critics, what they're saying is, you see, it's a World Bank backed treaty. So if you're breaking that, that could harm India's international image and reputation. That is one thing, because it has been backed by World Bank, right? And again, it may be seen as weaponizing water, which again can set a dangerous precedent. And Pakistan may approach the international courts, or it can increase the cross-border tension. So again, if you are not giving water, or if you're exiting this treaty and you are asserting your rights, then it may be challenged in international court. But beyond that, okay, that is legal aspect, but there are other acts which are possible, right? Other kind of retaliations may be possible, like increasing border tension, which is never good for our economy, for in any way, that is never good. So what you can say is, instead of abrupt abrogation, sudden abrogation or exiting, India should push for a revision. It is an outdated treaty, so we can go for a revision. And you can say increase use of water within the current treaty limits. We need to use more water because of the increasing population, increasing demand for water for agricultural purposes and other things, and build a global opinion on equitable resource sharing. So there is no equity or equitable resource sharing here. So you can go with a global opinion also. So highlight this as a case where geopolitics, environment, and development all meet. And why this topic I'm discussing? because this is connected with international affair. It is connected with Indo-Pak relation. It is connected with some treaties. It is connected with geopolitics. It is also connected with environment. The things have changed, and it is definitely important for development. So that's why GS paper 2, GS paper 3, essay, interview, everywhere, this topic is going to be important. So, guys, water disputes, when we talk about both within India and across the border, are becoming more serious these days, mainly due to the climatic change, the development needs, the increase in populations, and as a UPSC aspirant, when you're writing the answers, you must understand not only the legal aspect, I want you to understand the ethical dimension also. So I missed that part, GS paper for ethics, where they can bring in this question related to this. They can put some angle or ethics also. So that's why I just mentioned towards the end, legal aspects we looked into, the legal aspects mainly connected with paper 2, the political, the developmental aspect, climate change aspect mainly connected with GS3. But what we missed is, in this discussion, the ethical part. We cannot overlook that. So that way also it is important. So think about this. This topic is geographically is also important. So GS1 is also important. So essay GS1 geographically, GS2, politically and internationally, GS3 development and environment, GS4 ethically, and in interview, every part of your UPSC exam, this is important. So whether it's Punjab versus Haryana or India versus Pakistan, the only long-term solution is, data transparency, dialogue, decentralization, and of course the sustainable use of water. So guys, that's about this session. I hope you like the video. I hope you got more knowledge than what you get from reading that editorial. I hope you got some new thoughts about this topic also. So take down the notes and revise it. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. If you like the video, share it with your friends, and if you're looking for any mentorship or anything, get in touch with us. See you guys. Thank you.